Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Building a Nation with Team Canada. And today we switch gears a little bit as we take on a new challenge. That challenge is the 2021 North American Gold Cup. As you can see here, board expectations have risen. I don't think we've ever seen this before in a competition where they're telling us to reach the semifinals. And honestly, I didn't even notice that about the Nations League. They also want us to reach the Nations League they want us to reach the semifinals in Nations League, which is going to be incredibly difficult. It means we have to go through Mexico. There's no question about it. You know, international boards can be fickle. One bad tournament and they could kick you loose. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen. You know, in the real world, if an international coach qualifies for the World Cup, at least in North America, it's maybe not as cutthroat here as it is in Europe and other places. But normally, if you're a coach who gets your team to qualification, they will give you the World Cup. They will let you coach in the World Cup. They'll give you 4 years, is what I'm saying. You'll get 4 years. You'll get a cycle, as they call it. So hopefully the board in Canada will have the same sort of feelings, but you never know. So we can't really take too much for granted. We have to reach these expectations, or at least come as close as possible in one of these. I think we definitely have to reach the semifinals in the Gold Cup. That would be very important. And then just hope that the goodwill carries over to the Nations League. Because honestly, the board isn't that impressed, right? I mean, it's okay, but they're only 52% stable, so we're just above the Maginot line there, the Mason-Dixon line, whatever you want to call it, the 50% threshold that tells them whether they like you or they don't like you. Your job is secure or unsecure. We're not too secure, even though we've managed to qualify for the World Cup. But anyway, that sort of drama aside, we do have the Gold Cup to get ready for. And it is an interesting group that we're in. As you can see, Group A, it's kind of a difficult group. Costa Rica, El Salvador, and USA. Now, this would normally be a much tougher group, but we're going to be playing against the USA B team. That's interesting. I've not played against a B team before, but you know, there's a lot of familiar names on here. So it's not like these guys are a bunch of scrubs. You can see they got 3-star guys, 4-star guys. I mean, these guys are nearly as good as our A team. And you may be wondering what their A team is up to. Well, let's take a look at the schedule of the senior team. They're playing in the Confederations Cup. As you can see here, they're actually doing pretty good. They got a draw and a win. Well, actually, that draw is kind of bad, honestly. To draw against Australia in the Confederations Cup, maybe that's not so good. They should definitely be beating Australia, but they did bounce back with a win over the Ghanaian B team. And then they got Germany coming up, so they might feel our pain. USA might be out of the Confederations Cup a little early unless they can get past Germany. So that's what USA has going on. That's why they've sent the B team. So that helps us out a little bit, but their B team is still pretty good. Costa Rica is still pretty good, as you can see here. You know, they've got some guys with some pretty good value here. Of course, they've got Keylor Navas in goal, $71 million. You know, they've got a lot of good players for Costa Rica. So we definitely have tough matchups in this group stage, although luckily 2 teams do get out of these groups. So we've got a little margin for error. And honestly, that margin of error starts today as we play against El Salvador. So, you know, we got some good groups going on here, but I think our group is the toughest, honestly, with Costa Rica, Canada, El Salvador, and USA. So we got to work that out. Costa Rica, they've already played. They've already beaten USA B team, so they got a leg up this round, and we got our match preview versus El Salvador. We are heavy favorites, 6-4 favorites. Although we do come in currently in inconsistent form thanks to that loss that we had against Switzerland. I guess they're counting that. Thanks for that, Switzerland. Anyway, El Salvador, let's see what they're up to these days. They do have a full squad. So that's, well, mostly full squad. Looks like they're lacking in the goalkeeper department. That's maybe not so good. But they do have some pretty good players, some pretty talented players. We got them sorted by value here. So their best player, Darwin Seren, is currently suspended. So that's not good. He's their midfielder, and this guy's pretty good. You look at him, you know, he's no better or worse than our midfielders. Maybe you could even say he's a little bit more well-rounded than most of our midfielders. So, you know, he's definitely a guy who's a high caliber player, and they're going to miss him for this game. So we got a little lucky with this draw, getting El Salvador first. Eric Zavaleta, we're familiar with him from MLS, plays for FC Cincinnati. He's a good, solid MLS caliber defender. You know, good strength, good jumping reach, heading. He's a guy who can patrol the back line pretty well. And then I think their talent drops off pretty sharply after that. Defensive midfielder, Marvin Irahita. You know, not great. I guess he's got some pace and a little bit of tackling, but he's really nobody you would be afraid of. What do they got for strikers? Nelson Bonilla. He could be okay. Contracted to Bangkok United. He's got probably decent finishing, some flair, some off the ball. So he could be decent. He's 30 years old. This team seems kind of old. They got a lot of older players. A few 22-year-olds that bring the age down, but a lot of 30-year-olds, 35-year-old scrub goalkeeper. So, you know, I don't think we've got a ton to worry about from El Salvador. They are a team with some history in the soccer world, in Central American soccer. They've jumped up every so often. Every few years, they can put together a good, solid group and surprise you, which is pretty good for a nation of their size. Only 6.1 million in the country. That's a pretty small nation, but, you know, we've got a lot of players playing in America and elsewhere, not America, playing in the United States and elsewhere. So, you know, for a small nation, they produce, you know, a pretty good amount of players. So that's something. Let's see. They do have a coach, Carlos de los Cobos. Okay, he's actually a pretty decent coach. I mean, he's got some technical abilities, attacking, defending. He's very strong in fitness, man management. Again, not a tremendous motivator. But, you know, he's actually a pretty solid coach for CONCACAF level team. They are not highly rated. They're rated 85th in the world. But, you know, we can't afford to take them lightly, because we have to get these wins. We have to bank these wins. And even if we're going to beat these guys, we got to try to beat them as much as possible so we can get that goal differential going on. So let's get to team selection. Was there anything else in the match preview? Referee Roger Gamboa. No refereeing this year. Let's see. It's 86 degrees and breezy. Oh, yeah. Gold Cup is always held in the U.S., so we're going to be playing at FedEx Field in Washington, D.C. Capacity 91,000. So they've opened up the floodgates there at FedEx Field. I'd kind of actually rather be playing at Audi Field than FedEx Field, but they sold 59,000 tickets. So that's pretty huge. I mean, that's a monstrous crowd to come out for a first-round Gold Cup game between Canada and El Salvador. So I'm hoping to see a lot of Canadians in the crowd. All right. We submitted our team, so let's just get to the lineup. We're not going to talk about the reserves, I guess. We'll just talk about the starters. So we looked at their lineup. They've got Flores making his debut, even though he's come off the bench. They do have Bonilla up top. 2 appearances, not so good. Alas has taken the captain's armband. Raul alas. Okay, there's Zavaleta in defense. 6.6 rating. Okay, Rivas, Jay Rivas, Joaquin Rivas on the left. 29 appearances. 29 years old as well. So he's got that going for him, I guess. He's okay. Not necessarily a guy to be too afraid of. So here we are. We're going to go to the Canadian lineup here, and we've made some moves that we could live to regret, but we're getting as many of our guys in there who need a little bit of match sharpness. Nobody's really bad at match sharpness, but we got a few guys who could use some game time. And we're going to start in goal with Lutweiler. Jason Lutweiler is going to make his debut. He's played in some friendlies before, but he's never played in a real match, gotten a real cap. So we're going to give him a real cap today against El Salvador. On defense, we got Cabra, Henry, Jaguar. Jaguar, you might notice, is now playing for Vancouver Whitecaps. We picked him up. He just was not playing in Montreal. They had him on a reserve contract. He was just not going to play. So we had to get him out of there, and we got to do something with him. We just got him in, so he's played one game for Vancouver, and now he's back with the national team. Nana on the right-hand side, back again. Piet and Arfield in the midfield. Those guys have been playing together for quite a while. Arfield, I think this is his swan song. I think this will be his last tournament with Team Canada. He's pretty old now. And he might be retiring shortly. Timoteo, guy who we've brought up a few times here and there, another Vancouver player playing on the left-hand side. Jay Chapman. I mean, this guy was one of our leading goal scorers in World Cup qualification. He just played so well. We got to keep him on the team. He's played his way into the lineup, basically. David on the right and Cavallini up top. Cavallini served his suspension. He's back in the starting lineup. No problems. All right. Get to the instructions. We're the favorites here. Go out there and perform like it. Okay, they didn't like that. Now, they've got this weird 4-2-2-1-1 kind of thing. I guess call it 4-4-1-1. Very defensive. Double defensive midfielders. And I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but we do want to cover as many of these guys as we can. All right, let's go. So they got the corners blocked off, but look at the crowd, man. That is monstrous. So classic red versus blue lineup. Of course, we are in the reds. El Salvador in the blues, as is right and correct. All right. Let's make sure we're on the proper highlights here. We can go extended highlight. There's no reason not to at this point. Here we go. Nana, throw in to nobody. Gets it. Alas, wins it. But here's Arfield. David centers to Piet, who's wide open. I think we just got to get some shots on goal. Because as we saw, they don't particularly have the best goalkeepers. So if we can just, pepper them with a few shots, we should be able to get some past. So far, we're looking good. Here's a corner by Arfield. He sends one low. Alas is there again. Chapman with the shot. He nearly scores again. Arfield, though, keeps it in. Are they going to reload? Back to Chapman. Back out to Arfield. His cross deflected, but Piet, we're a little quicker. Piet. The good news is we're a little quicker to the ball. The bad news is Piet is taking some crazy shots. Okay, could this be the first highlight for El Salvador? Great ball there by Cabra. Gets it to Henry. A little bit of news on Henry. He might be leaving Vancouver pretty soon. Atlas has put in a bid for him. So we might see him leave. Cavallini gets crushed. We'll let Arfield take the penalty. We'll let the old man step up to the plate. Get one last goal as he ends his career with Team Canada, and there it is. All right. Canadian fans, a little slow to react there, but eventually they react. And there we go, 1-0. All right. Took us 20 minutes, but we finally broke through. It's Arfield. I mean, the keeper went the right way. He just sort of took a poor angle on his dive. Couldn't get down quick enough to stop that one. So yeah, Henry might leave, but that's okay. I mean, we move him on to Atlas. It's a big team, but he also makes room in our lineup because, you know, basically, if I wanted to, I could call up all of our central defenders, and they would be the starting defenders for the national team. Like, for whatever reason, we have stockpiled all the best defenders in Canada, and nobody else is playing any Canadian defenders. So, you know, we're just going to have to keep bringing them in and cycling them through so that they at least are getting some playing time. Same thing's happening with our right backs. Like, none of our young right backs are getting any sort of playing time, you know, Canadian right backs. So that's why we keep bringing back Nana year after year. It's not like he's that great. He's 32 years old. He can't last forever playing out there for Pacific in the Canadian Premier League. We got to replace him probably sooner rather than later. All right, here's Cabra, Timoteo, one of our young wingers in there. Gets it to Arfield. Arfield is just too slow. Can't get to a simple pass. Henry is there though. Nana to David. He's going to take it himself. Bypasses Arfield. Chapman around one guy. He's going to take this shot. Just over. Okay, I thought maybe there was a bit of a deflection there, but no. El Salvador's got 40% of the possession. That's probably not what they were looking for. Although, it could be. They could be just, you know, sit back, counterattack type mentality. It seems like that's what it is. They're just not getting any counterattack opportunities. Nana's lost possession more than any other player. Henry's won back possession more than any other player. Piet has been impressive at breaking into the final third. Yeah, and then he shoots the ball over the net. So let's do something about that. Don't get complacent out there. How about that? All right, yeah, they went for that. Everybody seemed to gain focus from that, so there we go. So, you know, it's not our strongest lineup, but we shouldn't need our strongest lineup to beat El Salvador. It's just I'd like to beat them a little better than 1-0. Said I'd like to, you know, rack up a few goals on these guys. I would say, like, minimum I'd be happy with is 3. 3-0 would be a great result. That would put us, I think, securely at the top of the division. The group, if you will. Here's Cabra. Timoteo has been a little quiet. He's touched the ball a few times, but hasn't really done anything with it. Harfield takes a long shot. You know, I think we're taking too many shots here. Let's work the ball in the box. See what we can do with that. Well, that screwed up our corner kick. All right, here we go. We get another highlight. 53 minutes already. Bonilla's trying to get there. Nope. He is slide tackled. Henry. I believe that was Jaguar on the slide tackle. Yeah. Nana to David. We're going to try to work it a little slowly this time. David's going to take it by himself. Nearly gets tackled. Chapman. Piet. He's got, I was going to say he had Cabra, but he decided to go to Timoteo. Roldan is there. Young midfielder gets it stolen by Timoteo. Timoteo's got that versatility. He's not just an offensive guy. He's got a little bit of defensive prowess about him. Piet's shot's deflected. I think it was deflected off our own guy. It was. So that was a terrible highlight. Especially when we're supposed to be working the ball in the box. Let's see. Chapman's not playing particularly well. Cavallini's playing poorly. Piet, a little tired. All right, here we go. Let's get our second, boys. Here we go. Nana throwing it in. Our field has it. A little, what the heck was that? What on earth was that? He turned around and hit it, like, back-heeled with the opposite leg. What is this? Look at that. That was wacky. Straight to Timoteo. That's like the greatest behind-the-back pass you've ever seen. This guy thinks he's Magic Johnson all of a sudden. Okay. I mean, we'll take it. Show off, but we'll take it. That was pretty wild. What will FM think of next? There's Timoteo getting murdered, but no call. Our field. He's got a goal and an assist to his name. He's got a goal and he's got 2 goals and an assist to his name. Our field. Don't call him old. Don't call him slow. He still got it. There's Timoteo getting brutalized there, but Piet, just a simple pass to our field, and then, I'll just shoot it. And there we go. We got our 3. So this is fine. 3-0. I can live with that. They've moved Roldan down into the midfield. Brought in Burgess. Let's take a look at our opposition here. We don't want to let this guy just run scot-free here, this new right winger. We will close down on him. Yeah, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? That's it. That's it. Confirm the changes. Okay. Just want to make sure he doesn't get any wide open crosses. So this definitely puts us at the top of the group. You can see our goal differential +3. Looking good. USA B team, they start out with a rough schedule. Play Costa Rica first, and then they get us. So that's like a couple of grudge matches right there. Let's see. I mean, stats are definitely one-sided. 20 shots to 5. They got 0 clear-cut chances. They've raised their possession up to 46%. So that's something, I guess, but not enough. 92 minutes. We got a minute to go. El Salvador, they just barely got out of their own half. They were probably doing this all game, bombing it downfield, and our defense is too mobile for that. With Jaguar and Henry on the back line, they're both, they both have decent speed, good awareness. Here's our field sending one back post to David, catches up to it across. Chapman with another goal. Jay Chapman continues his goal-scoring streak. It's like he's not the most talented guy. I mean, that's obvious. But there's something to be said about a guy who just gets in the right spot, and he's good enough, right? He's good enough physically, good enough mentally, good enough technically. He's well-rounded. Maybe we need a little bit more of that on this team. I usually pick guys who are really good in one area, right? Really fast, or really, good at crossing, really good at scoring. There's specialists, if you will. And sometimes it's good to have guys who can do it all, jack of all trades. That's kind of what Chapman reminds me of. He's a jack of all trades. So there we go, 21 shots. We got our 4th goal. That helps out tremendously. That puts a lot of distance between us in terms of goal differential. So Arfield with a brace, Timoteo with a goal, and Chapman with that 93rd minute. All right, so not bad. Very happy with the way you played and the result and all of that. Yeah, let's end. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. We'll definitely take it. Take a look at our tactics here. Just want to take a look at Chapman one more time. So, I mean, good passing, good vision, determination, flair. It'd be better. He'd be much more valuable if he was a much better leader. But he's just a dude. Like I keep saying, he is just a dude. But you know what? He's a dude who's playing well right now. So we're not going to complain about that. Lutweiler got his first win, got his first shutout, got his first cap, all of that stuff. So that's good. Next game, we're probably going to have a fully rotated side. Yeah, next game is important because next game is USA. Take a look at Group A. Were there any other results today? USA? No, they didn't play yet. So they've got... no, they played earlier this week. What am I talking about? I don't know. It's time to end the video, I think. That's what I'm talking about. I know where I was going with that. We were going to look at the rest of the groups and see if any of them had played. None of them had played any games. So this is all a moot point, as it is. Anyway, we got a press conference coming up. We got to build on the victory. Yada, yada, yada. Squad reacts positively. We don't need to hold a team meeting, I don't think. We shouldn't. But anyway, we're going to end it there before, I don't know, before my brain falls out of my earlobes. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.